Max Torres with Ducks Digest, back with another Oregon football recruiting update. It is Thursday, February 15th, 2024, coming to you from Long Beach, California. Hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day to kind of middle of the week. Hope you guys had some good times with your significant other. But let's talk about some Oregon recruiting news. How about it? That's what I like to do on this channel. Going to be breaking down a new Oregon football recruiting prediction. That's right. On Wednesday, 24/7 Sports national recruiting analyst Tom Loy logged a crystal ball prediction in favor of Oregon for 2025 Pittsburg, California safety Jadyn Hudson. He is the first analyst, I believe, to log that pick, but Jadyn Hudson's been a name that's been on my radar, especially being a California guy for a while now. So I'm going to break down my thoughts on this pick and tell you where I think things stand with Oregon and Jadyn Hudson. Again, coming out of Pittsburg, California. If you're here on YouTube, actually, this isn't going to be a podcast. So, of course, you're here on YouTube. I'm throwing some film from Jadyn Hudson's junior season on the screen right now so you can get a feel for the guy that we're talking about. Another player highlight, player specific video as Hudson picks off a pass and takes it to the crib for 6 points for the Pirates. Little rundown on Jadyn Hudson. He is listed on the 247 Sports, on his 247 Sports profile at 6'2", 175 pounds. He is a safety in the 2025 class, rated as a 4-star recruit on the 247 Sports composite, 0.9555. The same system ranks him the number 96 player in the country, the number 8 safety, and the number 10 recruit in the state of California. Obviously a talent-rich state, and Dan Lanning and the Ducks have absolutely set up shop in the Golden State. Hudson has 29 reported scholarship offers. Oregon is obviously one of those big schools in the mix for him, but other schools of note include Georgia, LSU, Miami, Michigan, and Ohio State. So just to give you a little bit of my thoughts on Jadyn Hudson, watching his film, I did a little bit of film study before I hit record on today's video. I think it's pretty obvious to see his ball skills that he possesses as a defensive back. I think that's obviously something that you want in any kind of a safety or defensive back, really, someone who can not only get their head around to look at the ball and ultimately make a play on the ball, whether that's a PBU or, as it is the case with Hudson, many times an interception. So I think those are some of the positives that you have with Jadyn Hudson. Another one that comes to mind is his football IQ and just feel for the game. The guy is in the right place a majority of the time, a whole heck of a lot. And then just to look at the other side of the coin, not necessarily a negative, but I think this is a guy that's probably more so fast than he is quick. I don't think his quickness necessarily pops off the tape when I look at his game, but certainly a guy that can cover a lot of ground. I know some of his highlights also include some chase down tackles, or like we just saw there, him changing direction to cover a lot of space, a lot of ground in the back end of the secondary. So I think that's good. You don't see a ton of necessarily one-on-one coverages from the very beginning of the play, which makes sense because he is a safety, right? So he's not in as close a proximity as some of these corners are. But I think that, like you see here with the chase down tackle, that's obviously something that you want in a safety, someone who's going to be able to serve as your last line of defense. But Hudson's had a pretty productive career at the high school level through 3 years playing for one of the premier programs in the Bay Area at Pittsburg. I think one of the most recent guys that you're looking at out of Pittsburg is 2023 Pittsburgh quarterback Jaden Rashada, who spent the 2023 season at Arizona State with Kenny Dillingham. He was previously committed to Miami and Florida as well. And then another one is 2023 wide receiver Rashid Williams, who ended up at the University of Washington. So this is a school that's definitely produced its fair share of players out west, and it's one that's worth watching whenever you have top recruits coming out of this school. But as for Jadyn Hudson and the Ducks, I did get an interview with him back in the fall. So it is a little bit dated, but I still think it's good to add some of the quotes, some of the things that he had to say. So he's been to Oregon multiple times. So that's obviously something that's in Oregon's favor. Anytime you have a guy that's been able to get to campus at all, but multiple times here, seeing that is an easy trip for him to make. He was recently in Eugene, most recently, I should say, back in September for that Colorado game, an absolute beatdown that Oregon won 42-6. And then I was asking him kind of what was standing out about the Ducks, and he talked about the direction of the program, saying, quote, "I would say what Coach Lanning, Coach Lapoy, and Coach Hamp are doing, especially with the defense. Oregon has been playing very well for some years too. Well, since I've been little." And then you also have to think here, you guys, with recruiting, it's so many times about relationships. So many times it's about connections. And Hudson actually had a family member, his cousin, Eric Dargan, played for the University of Oregon. He was a guy who played defensive back for the Ducks. I want to say it was between 2012 and 2014. Sorry for not knowing that off the top of my head, but that's obviously something that is helping the Ducks in this recruitment, having a family member that has played in Eugene before, even though admittedly it was under a different staff. Another reason that I think Oregon probably is the team to beat here, again, I don't have specific intel on him, but the Ducks do have momentum in the Bay Area. Just last week, they landed a commitment from edge rusher Matthew Johnson out of Concord, California, De La Salle, one of the most storied programs really nationally, but especially in the state of California. I think they've fallen off a little bit in recent years as a national power, but they have consistently been one of the very best programs in the Golden State. So the fact that the Ducks have momentum in California and specifically in this area, in the East Bay area, I think that that's something that obviously helps them. And then look at the ties that they have on the staff, again, to that specific region. Defensive coordinator Tosh Lapoy, it went to De La Salle, and that's obviously something that's going to help you there if you have a guy who is from there. And then you also have wide receivers coach Junior Adams, who's from Fremont, California. So there you have two guys on your staff that are from his area, more or less. I think that's going to help. Even though Junior Adams isn't a defensive coach, I think that that's still going to help you. We know that Oregon, the way that they like to recruit, they don't have just one guy going after any given recruit. It's usually your position coach, head coach, multiple members of the coaching staff. So I think that Oregon has a very, very real shot here to add Jadyn Hudson to the fold. I haven't heard anything about his recruiting timeline just yet, but I do know that Oregon is among his top schools, whether it's a top 8, top 10, whatever it is. Again, don't know that one off the top of my head, but I know that Oregon is one of his top schools right now. And I think this would be an important addition for the Ducks because, like we saw with Matthew Johnson committing to Oregon, he was the first guy to commit to the Ducks on the defensive side of the ball in the 2025 class. So you're a little bit offensive heavy right now. And I think that safety is going to be a really important position for the Ducks moving forward, as Chris Hampton, I think, is really poised to lean into his recruiting prowess or just kind of show people across the country, hey, I can do this recruiting thing too. I think he was a big reason for Oregon's defensive success in 2023. I think safety is an important position for the Ducks as well because you signed two guys in 24. Aaron Flowers out of Forney, Texas. He was an Adidas All-American guy. And then you also had Kingston Lopa out of the Sacramento area. I think it was Grant Union High School. He's kind of a tweener, like a hybrid defender kind of guy. You know, some people thought he might have played safety. Some people thought, or a linebacker maybe, was kind of in the discussion as well. But Dan Lanning said during the signing day festivities that Kingston Lopa is going to be playing safety for them. So you have a couple guys that you got in that 24 class, and then you have some more short-term guys, right? You have Kobe Savage, who comes over from Kansas State. He's a safety that you have in the fold right now, who's already, on campus and going through workouts from what we've been able to see from Oregon's 2024 class. I like to lump those transfer guys in there as well. And then you also have Brandon Johnson, who comes over from Duke, but he's more of a nickel guy. I don't know if he's as much of a true safety there. So I think that Oregon has some guys, obviously, at safety. You also return Tyshim Johnson from the 2023 season. So you have some good pieces that are already in the fold, that are already in Eugene. But when you have these short-term guys that are coming from the transfer portal, they're great for 1 year. But again, we know that the foundation of Oregon's roster, the meat and potatoes, so to speak, is always going to come from the high school ranks. So I think that that's why you have to see, and you're going to continue to see Oregon prioritize the high school rankings over the transfer portal rankings. But Jadyn Hudson isn't even the only safety that they're going after in the 2025 recruiting class. There are a number of really highly touted safeties that Oregon is involved with, and just start at the very top. Number one safety, according to the 247 Sports Composite, Fahim Delane. I've also seen Fahim Delaney, so I'm not exactly sure. I think Fahim Delaney rolls off the tongue a little bit better, but he's the number one safety in the country, and Oregon is in the thick of it with him after a recent unofficial visit in the month of January for one of Oregon's junior days. You have Oregon battling the likes of Ohio State, Texas, Maryland. I think Ohio State probably has the inside track there in Columbus, but Fahim Delaney is another one to watch. And then Trey McNutt is a safety as well out of Cleveland, Ohio, Shaker Heights. He was another guy that was recently in Eugene for a visit. And I mean, you never really hear about visits going poorly. So I think it's pretty safe to say that the visit went well. But that being said, the Ohio State Buckeyes always make it a challenge for top recruits to leave the state. So those are some of the safeties that you want to keep an eye out. But for my money, I'm not making my prediction right now because I want to get some more intel. But this prediction definitely makes a lot of sense to me. I think that Jadyn Hudson could very well end up in Eugene when all is said and done. But now the focus for the Ducks is probably going to be getting him back on campus in the spring. Things are dead right now. We are in a recruiting dead period. So March would be the earliest opportunity for the staff to get him on campus. But that was a quick little Oregon football recruiting update. Quick favor to ask of you guys, subscribe to the channel here on YouTube, Oregon Football Max Torres. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about Jadyn Hudson, Oregon football recruiting, Oregon football. And then make sure you drop a like on that video. It's a big help with the algorithm and just supports the work that I'm doing here on YouTube. Looks like NCAA 25 is going to be coming our way. The official college football video game is going to be coming out in the summer. I think they said full release in May. So that's another big headline of the day. But appreciate you guys stopping by. And this has been another Oregon football recruiting update. And we'll see you in the next one.